First way that I want to talk about locating shadow is, what do you find deeply, profoundly repulsive or aggravating? I'm not talking about a pet peeve that disturbs you and annoys you on a day-to-day basis at work, although that certainly can be shadow as well. But the big one, if you're really looking for that big gold nugget right off the bat, is like, what in life, what about humanity drives you bonkers that you just can't get your head around? What functions as your archetypal nemesis in the landscape of human features? It's a rich tapestry of potential candidates that can function as this role for us. For me, I'll give you an example. For me, it's fundamentalism. I was raised in a Christian fundamentalist family in a Protestant Lutheran home in Minnesota, detested it and revolted against it, and decided I would become as unrigid and fixed as I could. And so to demonstrate that, I became a Buddhist. I was like, I'm going to be a Buddhist esoteric practitioner. But I almost immediately became a total fundamentalist Buddhist. I was a Zen practitioner, I still am, and I had a very fierce, determined, rigid sense of black and white, right and wrong. I was super judgmental. The problem and the reason is that these are aspects of my personality. The problem is not fundamentalism in Christianity. The problem is not fundamentalism in Zen. I'm the fundamentalist. The call is coming from inside of the house. It's something in my personality that I have a really hard time loving. So that's the first one, which is, what do you find absolutely intolerable and aggravating, repulsive in otherness? Number two is phobia or fear. Like, I'll give you another example from my life. I had terrible insomnia for a long time because whenever I would go to sleep, I would have the most awful nightmares, night terrors actually. I had sleep paralysis. I had these awful, my sleep life was just a fire hose of shadow, which totally relates to our previous module in state training. That's why, as you know, lucid dreaming is really critical, because shadow does typically and often show up in dream work. The third one is maybe my favorite way to locate shadow. Certainly as of late it has been. And it's basically a cosmic level of perplexity. It is wonderment, perplexity, bewilderment, being baffled, being totally rendered undone by an enigma out there in the otherness. Now, if that sounds vague, let me tighten down the definition for you and bring it a little closer to home. I'll give you an example. For me, this perplexity, this stupefaction, this bewilderment comes from a very specific bandwidth in how the paranormal relates to creativity, in which theater seems to be enacted for a purpose of public display, where many human beings are witnesses to an event that's utterly inexplicable to them, and it has a quality of theater to it, and it can be frightening, bewildering, it can be transporting, transformational for the witnesses, traumatic, all of that, often in combination simultaneously. It is simply a signaling system that enacts theater, which is a creative process within our lineage, all of the creative arts, of course, in order to confront human beings with a totally inexplicable but unforgettable, magnetic, charismatic moment that will change their lives forever. And they spend the rest of their lives evolving, developing, growing, and pursuing all kinds of personal, spiritual development that they might not have otherwise, and creative development that they might not have otherwise engaged in. Now, in locating shadow, that's a big one. Find something that does that for you. It doesn't have to be that paranormal bandwidth that I'm talking about. It could be anything for you. That's just what it is for me.